DADA reigns in surreal times. That's a comment I recently came across while looking at some Instagram videos, and it just resonated with me on a crazy level because that's a thing I'm thinking about lately. The link between a resurgence of some Dadaist kind of things in our actual world, our actual society. And so, just as I did my last video on whimsy and surrealism, in this one I'm going to talk further more about Dada, the movement that gave birth to surrealism. It's the origins of this whimsy things that we have now. I mean, Dada is really at the foundation of it all, and I think it just resonates so well with the state of the world we are living in right now. Okay, this probably sounds really unclear if you are not common with Dada, but anyway, let me explain. So first of all, if Dada reigns in surreal times, what are the surreal times? I mean, right now I think I don't have to explain it that much. We are living in a world that's kind of going crazy. I mean, our society is completely so fucking weird and kind of fucked up. I mean, there's war in a lot of parts of the world. There's some genocides going on. There's the climate change. There's the economy. There's everything is it's scary. I mean, we're at a time where, and also the rise of the AI. It's really a strange place to live right now. I mean, everything feels extra serious, and in the same time, because of that seriousness of the situation in the world, I feel like everything is kind of losing its meaning. And that's exactly the kind of situation people were going through when Dada came to birth. Because Dada was born in 1916, and so 1916 was born in Europa, and so we're here in the middle of the war, and the First World War was also a time that was completely fucked up. Originally the countries really thought it would last a year, maybe two, but then they see that they are deep in the war, they're just in the middle of it, and so much young people are dying. Dying for what? For two big countries that have decided to fight against each other. I of course I know it's way more difficult to understand than that, but we're at a moment where the population start to feel does it really have a meaning to do such wars that cause such an amount of death? And that's the surreal time where everything is so serious, and the society seems to almost be okay with those atrocities, that everything actually became absurd. Why are we aligning with all those values that we don't share? This is the kind of surreal times this quote is talking about. So first of all, in terms of societal environment, I think we're in that quite weird and fucked up phase. And so, to understand why Dada is coming back, we have to understand how Dada was created. So Dada, or you can say Dadaism, it's an art movement that was born in 1916 in Zurich in Switzerland, and quite at the same time in New York. But personally, I'm gonna take Zurich, Switzerland, as we're in the middle of Europa. So okay. And so it was at first some artists in the Cabaret Voltaire, like a bar where they would gather, who felt in at a time where the war is killing so many people, art shouldn't be beautiful anymore. Art should reflect the absurdity and the meaningless form of the word. And so Dada started by like some representation where, for example, those artists would just gather and repeat a word over and over for some hours, or or whatever. They would do some like weird dances or weird presentation, or like just hang around without saying a word, or whatever. And so Dada evolved and became a movement where photomontage took a really important part. Duchamp with his ready-made, like Fontaine, and all. And so it's really an art form that is like against all norms of beauty. Like they don't try to make something beautiful. It's really something that's absurd and that you don't even have to try to understand. Like there's a political underline in Dada, being like against the society who causes the war and all, but in the art in itself, I feel like what you really need to take away from that art is that you don't have to search for a sense of it all. It doesn't have any sense. It's not here to make sense or to share a message furthermore than just being a nonsense that shows how the world is a nonsense. And so to link it with nowadays, I think, first of all, I think that Dada never really dies. Like, we tend to say that Dada, like, at the point where surrealism becomes a thing in officially 1924, Dada is kind of dying, collapsing. I think it's true in a way that those artists, like, stopped claiming being Dadaist, but they were still around and they still made art. And all the way up to nowadays, I feel like there's some Dada art that was created. I mean, there was always someone to create something that didn't have any sense, okay? And so I feel like nowadays there's like a resurgence of this nonsense in the art, in the world in general. I'm gonna try to tell like a few examples, maybe. For example, if I hope you know that group. They are called Angine de Poitrine, and so they are a group with like two guys pretending to be from another planet. You may have seen them. They are wearing like some weird costumes that are like all polka dotted, and they are doing some really great music. And they are really claiming themselves in like their bio on Insta and on the websites that they are Dada. So it shows that there's a creative field where this movement, this movement really inspired like all the arts, all the modern and contemporary arts, like for example the happening and all. It was born with those guys repeating words over and over again in that bar. And yeah, for example, Angine de Poitrine, they are a group that, they are pretending they don't speak any human language. They have their own language. Like, it doesn't make sense, and they're not sharing any like big political messages or whatever. They're just here doing something that feels fresh, and that feels like nonsense, but that's what's great with it. And I think like it's a general way that the artists are taking nowadays, because I feel like the art with a big political message phase is somehow over. Like, I mean, we still have artists, and that's really great. That's important that are sharing political messages through the art. But we are at some point where even the arts, like, they can't really do a lot, and that's so sad. Like, I would really love the art to like end the wars, but unfortunately, it's not the case. And so making some art that feels like just absurd, it's a form of revolt against the absurdity of the life in itself. It's saying, okay, we are in a world that's like getting fucked up, and you know what? We're just gonna enjoy our time here and do whatever came to our mind, and it doesn't have to like leave a profound message for the next generation. And it's really a turn that many artists more or less are taking. It's the cover of the last Charlie XCX album with those three guys that are quite unrelated to it. It's those AI artists. I'm not a big fan of them, but like that making some like fucked up things. Like there's collections, for example, of Jesus with shrimps. Isn't that Dada? I mean, it's 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 the resurgence of whimsy. As I told last time, whimsy is linked with surrealism, but surrealism is in itself linked with Dada. And I think we are really like replaying those artists in the 1920s that created some absurd art that in a way shared a political message without sharing anything. And I think that's something great sometimes, to be able to open the eyes of this on the situation, to say that okay, like even some great art won't solve anything. But if we really can do anything, let's do something that has no meaning and that has no real concept, but let's do it because we can do it, and it in a way shares something with the world. And I think that's why Dada reigns in surreal time, and I think we should all be Dada at some point and somehow revolt against the absurdity of the life, as Camus would say. And yeah, I hope you somehow understand what I meant through this video. And that's it. I hope you liked it, guys, and bye bye!